Hi, y'all. Um, Happy Monday, June 3rd. I just finished taking my class, live lecture on creative presentation. So hopefully I've learned at least something, right? So hopefully this is heard easily. Someone sees one of these videos. I've yet to see any of my videos yet. That's okay. I am not heartbroken about that. I do know that a few of my videos have been banned. For whatever reason YouTube wants to give. But anyways, so today I was doing my usual, doing class and doing my reading and also listening to my YouTube channels that I always do. And well, let's put it this way. One started playing and I decided to change it and share it with you guys. So let's see if I can pull it up. There it is. So I'm gonna mute my microphone so y'all can hear this.
If there is no threat to Americans, if there is no threat to our data privacy security, why did an internal memo from TikTok corporate headquarters explicitly coach senior management to, quote, downplay the parent company ByteDance? Why, if you had nothing to hide, would you need to downplay the association with ByteDance in China?
Congressman, I have not seen this memo.
And promoting robust international people-to-people exchanges and cooperation.
Hunter Biden's business associates sent over $1 million to 3 of their family members. Any reactions to that report?
House Oversight says they've got bank records showing a Chinese energy company paying 3 Biden family members through a third party. What were they paid for?
Look, I'm just not going to respond to that from here.
He's telling us that he paid around $11,000 to complete the strip that's either paid to a cartel or different human smuggling groups. But he just arrived here in Texas, once again, just highlighting that this sector is leading the nation in those illegal crossings.
According to the U.S. Government Accountability Office, directed energy can produce 4.
Now they want to just touch on that subject for a second. So not exactly sure what those all have to do with each other, the whole TikTok thing. I don't follow TikTok, nor do I follow Biden. So wants to inform me of anything, that'd be cool. Again, not sure what those things had to do with each other. Now this is when I decided to stop my phone and just add you guys on. See. So let's see. Here we go.
Force that ranges from deterrent to damaging to destructive. Many countries, including the U.S., are researching their use. Different types of electromagnetic energy have different properties. High-energy lasers produce a very narrow beam of light, usually in the infrared to visible region, and are typically used on one target at a time. The beam can be pulsed or continuous, generating a power output of at least 1 kilowatt. This output is 200,000 times greater than a typical laser pointer and is capable of...
Okay. Holy fuck. This brings to my mind like the whole Maui fire, Paradise Campfire, the Dixie fire. Like so many fires just popped in my mind with this. I don't just think.
Of melting steel. Furthermore, Wouldn't a covert satellite-based laser in concert with known weather modification technology capable of waging mass land theft and agricultural devastation benefit the Great Reset greatly by merely hiding behind the climate change narrative?
You have the right to stay private and protect your personal data.
I mean, I say, yeah, that would make sense. Now, I don't know anyone else, but me personally, I've had a few people that I've met over the last few years that have all complained about being microwaved. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I do know that there was an incident I had for my birthday last year where it literally felt like someone was slicing into my brain and trying to cut out chunks of it. And it was so weird because it would come on and then it'd stop. And come on and then stop. Like I was crawling around my kitchen screaming and trying to defend myself from an unknown attacker. It was so crazy. Let me see if I can skip the ad they put on here.
Special thanks to Delete Me for sponsoring this portion of the video.
There's a good reason number 45 is the best of all time. Because we can always trust them to tell it like it is. And that's why when I told Trump about this, he urged me to get this message out. Folks, something big is about to happen.
Sorry, I was
The rot is real. America is deliberately being destroyed from within.
I don't know if I'm tripping or not, but is that an upside down cross, bro?
As the expanse of the western United States has finally been breached.
Over the last year, prices are down on everyday items from a gallon of gasoline to a gallon of milk. And folks are beginning to feel.
I'm sorry. Well, when the fuck was that clip made? Because I just see prices going higher and higher and higher. Like I have not once seen these prices dropping. So I'm really curious when this clip was taken.
Feel it.
Inflation is at its highest level in 40 years. Consumer prices are up nearly 14%. Gasoline is up 39.1%. And while an infinite...
I'm sorry. I think their math is a little wrong here because I know for a fact last month, March, sorry, May, April, I went and bought a big 10-pound pack of Hammery, and it was $18. A week ago, I went to go buy another one of those. It was almost $35. That's double the price just from 1 month ago. So I don't know where they're getting their math from.
Number of illegals line up to receive Obamacare, the number of American citizens without health insurance went down by 4.2 million. Publicly held debt is up 13.7%, and the amount of citizens on food stamps has increased. Adding to Old Yeller's inevitable reckoning with the data, his main handler, Barack Obama, is reportedly panicking, begging Old Yeller to drop out while frantically playing musical chairs with his kids. Old Yeller hasn't just angered MAGA Republicans with vitriol aimed at millions of Americans free to vote for whoever they choose.
Democracy means rejecting and repudiating political violence. Regardless of party, such violence is never, never, never acceptable in America. It's undemocratic, and it must never be normalized to advance political power.
And everyone beware, because they're not going to stop. It is going to.
What? Did you all just hear that? Should never, never, never be normal. My brain hurts now.
They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
A new migrant crisis is brewing in the United States. Unlike the one at the southern border, this one will be all over the country. Evictions are rising rapidly as millions of Americans face soaring rent increases driven by inflation, a shortage of affordable housing, and the end of the pandemic relief. Rent prices are now 31.4% higher than pre-pandemic levels, with a median rent surpassing $2,000 in May 2024, according to Zillow. This explains why a quarter of U.S. renters say they can no longer.
Okay, I don't know about y'all, but where I live, to find anything below 1,800 for something as small as a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, pretty fucking near impossible. Just saying. I got blessed, my landlord, with this place, because I would still be homeless if not. I was homeless for over a year. And that's really hard to be when you have 3 kids, you know? And it really sucks because I just gotten to the level that I was actually comfortable enough to afford my bills, feed my kids, and actually have enough money left over to buy them shoes or clothes or whatever they needed at the time. To me, that was comfortable. That was beyond comfortable. And I had to work 4 jobs every day to get there. And then when COVID hit, it took away all that. And ever since then, I've been just trying my best to be able to survive. It's been really hard. So if they're about to make things way worse, that's a serious problem.
If there is no
and people's search sites.
The rot is real.
Are down.
Gasoline is up 39.1%, and while an infinite number of illegals line up to receive Obamacare, the number of American citizens without health insurance went down by 4.2 million. Publicly held debt is up 13.7%, and the amount of citizens on food stamps has increased. Adding to Old Yeller's inevitable reckoning with the data, his main handler, Barack Obama, is reportedly panicking, begging Old Yeller to drop out while frantically playing musical chairs with his kids. Old Yeller hasn't just angered MAGA Republicans with vitriol aimed at millions of Americans free to vote for whoever they choose.
Democracy means rejecting and repudiating political violence. Regardless of party, such violence is never, never, never acceptable in America. It's undemocratic, and it must never be normalized to advance political power.
Sorry, I instantly messed up a video. I didn't mean to go back so far. Sorry.
And everyone beware, because they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
A new migrant crisis is brewing in the United States. Unlike the one at the southern border, this one will be all over the country. Evictions are rising rapidly as millions of Americans face soaring rent increases driven by inflation, a shortage of affordable housing, and the end of the pandemic relief. Rent prices are now 31.4% higher than pre-pandemic levels, with a median rent surpassing $2,000 in May 2024, according to Zillow. This explains why a quarter of U.S. renters say they can no longer afford rent, and about 1 in 5 plan to move back in with parents or with friends, according to a study by Inuit Credit Com. The current housing market has many Americans making adjustments to their living situations, including relocating to less expensive cities and even moving back in with their families, said Courtney Olive, consumer financial advocate at Inuit Credit Com. What's most concerning is that rising housing costs aren't just impacting younger generations, but older generations too. Olive noted that while rent prices have been surging,
like a friend of mine, him and his family lived in the same house for over 15 years, and even they were getting evicted. Could you imagine that? Living in the same place for 15 years and then suddenly you're being evicted? It's craziness.
surging in most parts of the country for a while, Americans have also had inflation, higher borrowing costs, and record high credit card debt to contend with. That's on top of federal student loan payments that resumed in October. No wonder why so many Americans are feeling pessimistic about the economy. Earlier this year, a Harvard study found that half of the country's 102 million renters spend a third or more of their income on housing. In other words, about 51 million households are currently cost-burdened by rent. Whitney Egud-Obriki, a senior research associate at Harvard, said it's one of the worst years we've ever seen. She added that the number of Americans spending 30% or more on rent in 2024 had not been seen since the Great Recession in 2008, when 10 million Americans lost their homes to foreclosure. The hardest hit have been renters who made less than $30,000 and who, after paying rent and utilities, were left with just $310 a month on average. Egud.
I'm sorry, but like before COVID, my rent was $450 a month, and I made, for the first time ever in a year of COVID, when I got my tax return, that was the first year of my tax return that I made $30,000 that year with my 4 jobs. Ever. And I think that's probably the reason why I got ran out of town, Nelson, because I was showing people it was possible to survive with so little money. That, and it was a small hick town. You know, they say when you have trauma in a small town, someone's getting hooked.
Egud-Obriki said. So you can certainly imagine the kinds of trade-offs that have to happen, she stressed. Cost-burdened renters are spending less on things like food and health care and retirement funds. So there are significant implications for the long-term well-being of these households.
Retirement funds? What the hell's that? I've worked my whole life. And I've never been able to, I don't even have a bank account. Because there's no point in it. The moment I get paid, the more I have to pay bills. And then whatever little bit is left over, I have to put towards my kids' food. Like, I told someone recently, it's cheaper and more affordable for me to get high so I don't eat than it is for me to be able to eat. Just so that way I know my kids have food.
Marianne Smith, a 65-year-old Oklahoma resident, pays around 35% of her income on rent. I eat or I pay my bills, she told ABC News. Had I not had family and friends that could afford to just put money in my bank account, I would be on the streets. When asked how lower rent costs could impact her life, Smith said, "Oh my God, I eat 3 meals a day instead of 2 or 1. Let's start there." According to Sarah Sadian, the Senior Vice President of Public Policy and Field Organizing at the National Low-Income Housing Coalition, Smith's case is sadly just one among millions. The soaring costs of housing is putting numerous families on the brink. When you're devoting so much of your very limited income toward housing, it means that any sort of financial hiccup, your car breaks down, your kid is sick, or you miss a day off work, that very easily can spiral out of control, Sadian explained. She continued, more and more households that are struggling to pay rent are living just one sort of financial shock away from facing evictions and, in worst cases, homelessness. In some areas.
And that is so fucking true. Like, man, so true. It would literally take everything to be able to survive with that right now. Like in my case, my kid's father, I met him in 2003, 2024. In 21 years, that man has helped me one time. I have 3 of his kids. He paid my rent once, $450 a month. One time. Got me a 5-gallon tank of propane and a gallon of milk. That's it. During the first 7 years of our relationship, I supported him, his brother's girlfriend, their sister's husband, their 3 kids, and my mother-in-law, plus my 3 kids, all by myself. And at that time, I had to work from 4 a.m. to 2 a.m., 7 days a week, working 4 to 6 jobs every fucking day. I get up and go open the grocery store I worked at. I'd work there until about 8 o'clock when the manager came in, and then I'd go to the resource center I worked at and work there for a couple hours, and then I go to the Feather River Art Center I worked at. They're down the street, thank God. I worked there for 2 hours. Then I go check on my clients I had for HSS, make sure they're okay, before I go back to work at the grocery store. And I would spend like 3 hours making deliveries whenever they came in, while also taking care of my clients intermittently. And then after that 3 hours, I would then go back to the grocery store, and I would work until they closed at 2 a.m. Every day, 7 days a week. During that time was when I was having my children. So pregnancy was really, really hard on me. And not only that, it was so hard on me that every month, every 2 months, I would end up hospitalized from malnutrition and being severely weak. All because I stopped at home to drop off cigarettes or whatever to my mother-in-law and sit down and just go, oof. You know what I mean? And the time it took me to go, how's everything? I'd be asleep, out like a light. And then my mother-in-law would try waking me up. My ex-husband now, would try to wake me up to go back to work. And I couldn't wake up because I was so exhausted that I couldn't even fathom what was going on. I would wake up in a hospital with IVs in me, pumping hella fluids in me. They say I was severely malnourished because I couldn't afford for all of us to eat, right? I couldn't afford for all the adults. Like I said, ex-husband, brother, girlfriend, sister-in-law, her husband, mother-in-law. There are three, my sister-in-law's 3 kids, and my 3 kids. That is 12 people, not including myself, that I had to support and feed. I didn't have to, but someone had to. None of them were working. They were too busy on drugs. And I did all this sober. Back then, you see, my teeth were destroyed. I was pregnant from 2003 to 2007. Sorry, 2004, 2007. My kids are 12 to 14 months apart each. I breastfed until I couldn't after my youngest. And that was only because I had an IUD puncture my uterus. And I was hospitalized for over a month over it. For the first couple weeks, they didn't even know what was wrong with me. So I dried up. That's back when I was 21. I didn't touch any kind of drug whatsoever until I was 27. And only then I did it because of the chaoticness that my ex-husband was putting me through. 2003 till then, my health was so horrible. Like, as you can tell, I mean, I'm not a small girl. I'm not tiny. I'm not petite. You know what I mean? You can totally tell that. But then, during that time, I was way bigger than I am now. Way bigger. And this is actually how I learned this, but I'm one of those weird types to where if I don't eat, I gain weight. But if I eat breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, snack, every day like I'm supposed to, small, healthy portions, I will lose weight so fast, it's ridiculous. But that shit, I webcam and sell my body online just so that I can afford to take care of my family now. Because going to work at Dairy Queen, making $13 an hour, I'm not going to cut it. Working anywhere is not going to cut it unless they're willing to make, unless the company's willing to pay a livable wage. If you know a company that pays a livable wage, by all means, let me know, please, because I need money. And I would much rather work a job and pay a livable wage than this bullshit. So in a minute and 39 seconds left of this video, let's finish this off.
Rent costs have quadrupled since 2013. Denver single mom Caitlin Colbert saw her 2-bedroom apartment rent rise by 400% over the last decade, from $750 to $3,374 last year. Just like millions of struggling families out there, Colbert has been juggling her costs month by month. Pay rent or swim team fees for one of her 3 kids. Rent or school supplies. Rent or groceries. How much longer can we ignore the millions struggling to keep a roof over their heads? Our country desperately needs some profound changes. Americans are sick and tired of failed policies and false promises. We need action, and we need it now.
So I fully agree. I wouldn't doubt it. This video doesn't go showing up on YouTube, because I'm pretty sure most of mine don't. Because damn, those haters hate when you speak the truth, right? I think I'm gonna start using Rumble, because this, I don't get anywhere on this channel. Sorry, I do have dogs. Well, I won't delete these videos. If it does so happen to go on YouTube, then I would love to know if someone has watched this. Please comment below. I'd say subscribe, but you don't have to. I mean, it lets me know when someone's on there, right? Pretty sure YouTube's not letting my shit show though. Does anyone listen? Does anyone actually care? While they're distracting you with ads on TV and your phone and your streaming service, just ads everywhere. You get bombarded by ads. Cocky to the face of ads, right? Does any reality actually get in there? Maybe not. Bye, guys.